Disney Plus has a new Miss Marvel series coming out soon, which means it's time to talk about Jersey City's only hope, Kamala Khan. But first we have to talk about the MCU fever dream, the Inhumans. In the comics, the Inhumans are beings a lot like regular humans. The main difference is that they have a mutated gene inside them that lies dormant, waiting to be unlocked. A lot like that gene that makes cilantro taste like soap. Once this gene is unlocked, an Inhuman accesses a hidden power, one that's unique to them. This power can only be unlocked with the help of something called a Terrigen crystal, an extremely rare mineral that's native to the moon. When Thanos found out he had a son, the only thing he wanted was to kill him. Because he's Thanos. That's what he does. But the only thing he knew about him was that he was part Inhuman. Because of this, Thanos hatched a plan that would ensure all Inhumans around the same age as his son would die. But this didn't sit well with Black Bolt, the leader of the Inhumans, who took on Thanos, and I cannot stress this enough, by himself, and in doing so completely destroyed the city of Attilan and ignited a Terrigen bomb, which covered the world in a Terrigen mist. This is where Kamala Khan comes in. Kamala is just a regular Pakistani-American high school girl living in Jersey City with her Muslim family. And I know, right now you're thinking, wait a minute, Andrew, if this character isn't a broad-chested white guy named Chris or Ryan, how in the world did Americans relate to her? And that's either an overly cynical, self-aware observation or a great dog whistle. The truth is that Kamala came into the comics right around the same time that Marvel was doing a huge overhaul with their characters. Shortly after her introduction, Kamala would join the Avengers alongside a black Captain America, a female Thor, and an Afro-Latino Spider-Man. A lot of the comic reading populace loved what Marvel was doing with these previously B-list characters, but the changes did make many other readers very upset. You know, racists. Anyway, one night Kamala decides to sneak out of her house and go to a party in the park, but as is usually the case with shy, kind teenagers, the party doesn't go as well as she hoped it would. Kamala is bullied and made fun of and even tricked into drinking vodka. Betrayed and embarrassed, she starts to walk back home when all of a sudden the Terrigen mist that Black Bolt flooded the earth with reaches Jersey City. When the Terrigen mist hits Kamala, she immediately passes out and begins to have a vision where she's meeting with the Avengers. Leading the vision is her favorite Avenger, Carol Danvers. When Kamala wakes up, she looks exactly like Carol Danvers' old superhero persona, Miss Marvel. White skin, blonde hair. I mean, come on, you'd think the racists would have loved that part. After a long trial and error period, Kamala realizes that she can stretch and shapeshift at will. So, for a while, she decides to take on the appearance of Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel while stopping small crimes in Jersey City. But after meeting Captain Marvel in person, she realizes there can't be two of them. So she instead decides to adopt Danvers' old moniker, Miss Marvel, while staying true to herself and creating her own image.
Yes! Come on! Hold on! I need a hand with my hands.
Miss Marvel is such a good character, you guys. I'm so excited for this show. And G. Willow Wilson, one of Kamala Khan's creators and one of her first writers, established her as a young female role model by stepping away from the sexualization of young female characters and instead focused on backstory and character work. Think less Black Widow in a sexy bodysuit and more Peter Parker just trying his hardest. The initial comic release of Miss Marvel had a rocky start. I mean, from the very beginning, they were competing with Scott Snyder's Batman, Jeff Johns' Justice League, Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man, not to mention the lead-ups to Secret Wars and the New Avengers. And also, man, people were really upset about a superhero's skin color in 2014. And 2015. 2016 and 2017 and 2018, 2019. What year is it? As someone who lived in Jersey City for years and who loves this character, I cannot wait to see what Marvel is finally going to do with her. I mean, the good news and the bad news with Miss Marvel is that she hasn't been around for very long, so there isn't a lot to go off of. She doesn't have a rich rogues gallery, and she doesn't have the 50 years of experimentation that a character like, let's say, Iron Man had before his film debut in the MCU. The downside is that the writers have a lot of work ahead of them deciding where to take the character, what life-changing events she'll face, and what villains she'll fight. The upside is that because the writers aren't bound by decades of source material, there are countless possibilities about where they can take this character, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what they do with her. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, consider subscribing or hitting the like button down below. And for additional content, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/themedialunchbreak. The Media Lunch Break podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, as well as wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to say hi to us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. We'll say hi back. But this didn't sit well with Black Bolt, the leader of the Inhumans, who took on Thanos by himself, and in doing so destroyed the city of Attilion and ignited a Terrigen bomb that covered the world in Terrigen mist. That sounds so ridiculous. Do you ever just say things out loud, and then you're like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is why we got made fun of in school. This is the reason, but whatever.